Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today at our live here. I'm just going to see if I can get the comments. Okay. Again, I am Gurpreet Kaur with Living Excellence Today. And today we would be talking about why aren't people taking you serious? So this is going to be more of an interactive session. So if you can chime in, please comment, ask questions so we could make it as interactive as possible. So I can actually tailor this content to the people who are here live with me, so I can help them the most. That if they have any questions or comments, so we can move forward with that. All right. If you can actually just give me thumbs up or yes, I can hear you, see you fine, that would kind of give me a go ahead that I can start with the comments before I need to adjust anything. So if you can hear me, see me, please, if you can comment, that you can see me, hear me, and we will begin with our today's session. Why aren't people taking me seriously, right? Okay, so the way I have this session broken up is into two different modes. One, I will give you the reasons. I'll give you those at the front. And then I will kind of also work with this scenario. And the best way you can follow along is by having your own situation or scenario to work through as well. So I'll kind of guide you with that in a bit as well. Again, if you're here, comment, like, that you can see me, hear me, everything is going well. Okay. So reasons. First of all, before we go with the reasons, in what areas would you like people to really take you serious for? If you can comment those, that would help me to kind of gear and tailor this content as well. Whether it's at work, spouse, parents, siblings, kids, or in-laws, friends, anything. Okay, so that comment, those comments would help me. All right, so the reasons now. The reasons, we would go through about 5 or 6 reasons why people might not be taking you seriously, and then we will unfold them one at a time with the psychological layers, that what's really happening underneath the surface, so you can explore and see why people aren't taking you seriously. So here are the reasons. Not following through. As some of you already have mentioned in the comments of this event, that not following through is and could be number one. And another could be low self-esteem or low self-worth, and we will unfold that as well, and what each of those terms mean. Not knowing yourself enough, right? Not knowing yourself, and that also can get in the way. Your perfectionist tendencies, not to miscount them or discount them. They can be tricky ones to kind of indicate that, oh, is this why I am not doing some of the other things? So there are layers to these things, and stay with me and we'll unfold them. And another reason could be, don't say it with conviction, that you're probably not saying it because of self-doubt. And the last reason I have for you today is making excuses instead of making things happen, right? Who can relate? And we will uncover some of the psychological stuff that is underneath that, or emotional, why we even make excuses in the first place, right? Okay, so in the beginning, I had asked if you could comment why, in what areas you want people to take you seriously. That would help me tailor the content. And if somebody can give me like thumbs up that you can hear me, see me, that would be great too. So I would encourage you to come up with your own scenario or situation to follow along. So you can have and see or witness the real-time transformation, how this stuff is really buried underneath our psyche. Okay. And I also will kind of follow along with a situation or a scenario with one of the persons or people I work with or have worked with on this particular situation. So think of a scenario, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering, just something simple and plain that would be easier for you to uncover the layers which you want to be heard or taken seriously for. It could be something happened today, it could be something happened yesterday, or it happens regularly with kids, spouse, friends, whatever, right? So just have a situation in mind that can help you. Okay, so the example and scenario that I am going to follow with, it kind of has this person I worked with, he brought it up that his kids weren't taking him seriously for some of the things that he was asking him to do. And these weren't like really big things that he was asking them to do, just little things to pick up after themselves, or hey, let's go for a walk, or something else. So it's not like really, oh, you need to go here for college type of a stuff, right? So pick something simple to follow along. So let's cover our first reason. Not following through. This probably will come up the most, that if you don't follow through, people aren't going to take you seriously. So the questions you want to ask yourself are, why don't you follow through? Just, if you already have that scenario, think through it if you can, and see if you can answer this question now, or write it down and go back to it later. Why don't you follow through the stuff? Do you feel scared or ashamed? Do you fear the conflict? Maybe because you don't want to rock the boat? Think back to the situation. When you didn't follow through, I can bet that you somehow felt less than or insufficient in some way. Type yes if I am on the right track and you're with me and you're following me. So let me know, that really helps. So yes, people aren't going to take you seriously because you're not following through. And we'll cover why and everything underneath it, right? It's just like, this is the tip of the iceberg, and there's like a whole mountain pile of things underneath it, right? So now your job is to find out why. And I'll give you rest of the reasons to help you discover this. But hopefully the questions that I already have you kind of ponder through or reflect on will help you to kind of get going. So going back to my scenario, the dad that I worked with, why he wasn't following through? He wasn't following through because he didn't want his kids to be upset at him. In other words, he didn't want to face abandonment or rejection from his kids. Now, that can be big, right? So you'll have to do some searching within yourself, that why aren't you following through? And I'm sure you're going to find a lot of good stuff that will help you improve other relationships as well. But stay with that why aren't you following through? So most likely if people aren't listening to you or taking you seriously, it's because you're not following through. Okay. Now, the reason 2, low self-esteem or low self-worth. This stuff comes up. First of all, who doesn't have low self-esteem or low self-worth or think they are less than something in some other way, right? But this stuff comes up. I have been practicing for over a decade, and this stuff comes up with anything that's psychological and emotional. So as we kind of covered it in the first point, that if you doubt yourself or feel insufficient in some way, like feeling abandoned or rejected, people will not take you seriously, right? So what is self-esteem? What is self-worth thing? Self-esteem, it's a confidence in one's own worth or abilities, right? Or self-respect. It's your self-respect. And it happens at a thinking level. But self-worth is much deeper than that. Self-worth is an opinion. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that you are a good person who deserves to be treated with respect. Do you see the slight difference? But it's worth noting the both, right? One, you just think, I can run 2 miles, right? That gives you a boost to your self-esteem. Or I can play soccer, or I am good at this work, right? It's a good tendency to like, oh, I have some abilities. I have some worth that I can contribute to. But self-worth, on the other hand, it's whether I can run 2 miles, whether I can play soccer, whether I have some abilities or not, I am a good person and I deserve to be treated with respect, right? So sit down and reflect what you think of yourself to start with and where you feel you are with self-esteem and self-worth. And see if there are, like my other client, has any abandonment or rejection stuff going on. Okay? So moving on to the next reason. Oh, let me give you the scenario. So with dad, he was afraid of the abandonment because he didn't feel strong to stand up for himself, because he doubted himself whether he was doing the right thing or not, right? Do you see where the self-doubt came in, or the self-esteem, like about the abilities, that he wasn't sure if he was doing the right thing or not. So now we would kind of move on to third reason. And we'll see how all these things kind of just continue to pile up, or as we are kind of going deeper under the surface. Not knowing yourself could be another reason why people aren't taking you seriously. So who would take someone seriously if they are wishy-washy most of the time, right? So going back on the last point, you not knowing yourself will get in the way of you showing your authority. If you don't know if I am doing the right thing, or if I am this, if these are my beliefs and values and what I stand for, right? That's going to waver your self-esteem or self-worth, or kind of just the confidence in yourself, right? And if you don't have that firm thing, like, this is what I believe, I know that this is a good parenting, for example, I'm going with this example, then that's that kind of gives you a good solid ground to stand on. So maybe an area for you to explore could be beliefs or values, or what I am standing for, what do I stand for, could be the reason that why maybe people aren't taking you seriously. And going back to my scenario, this dad, why he doubted himself was because he did not know himself, means he didn't know his true self, which only you get in touch with by going with it. He only identified with his role as a father, right? But he doubted his abilities to be a good father. So he felt the lack. That's where the doubt came in. This lack you feel when you feel insufficient in some way or the other is going to show. It's going to show in your conviction. We're going to talk about conviction a little bit later too. It's going to show up in your confidence. It's going to show up how you firm up the boundaries and you stand and kind of follow through your message as well. So I think knowing who you are, just some of the main tenets of beliefs and values, what you stand for, can also be the reason. Other reason could be perfectionist tendencies. Now, not everybody is a perfectionist, and these tendencies do not impact everybody, but it just happens to be that a lot of people that I work with tend to have perfectionist tendencies. So I like to kind of just include this, and it fits right into the scenario because this was kind of at the crux of what my client was feeling. Okay, so perfectionist tendencies. These get in the way a lot because of your black and white thinking. If you are a perfectionist, right? If you think it's all or none, right? There is no gray matter. I have to be a perfect father or nothing at all, and that can also waver your confidence as well. Either I am the best mom around, or I don't even want to try, because what difference does it make, right? For me to reinforce boundaries or discipline today versus yesterday, right? Either I have to do it all the time or not at all. And that type of thinking can also waver your confidence. That could be with your friends, that could be, with your spouse, or not following through with friends. So these tendencies or kind of black and white thinking or all or none type of thinking can get in the way because it brings in a factor of guilt. You kind of own your own guilt of being perfect. That can get in the way. You might think, I didn't reinforce this last time, so I can't do it this time because I didn't do it last time, right? Who agrees with that? I kind of do that with myself, with my children, because that's where the confidence and not even knowing yourself or what do I stand for, all that comes in, because you tend to think, am I right? Am I doing the right thing? And, like that self-esteem stuff. So just think, if you are this type of a person, if you tend to think in more of a black and white thinking, then acknowledge that, be mindful of it, and be kind to yourself as you work through these tendencies, because just as you are becoming aware of them, these tendencies also have the ability to kind of take you into the inner critic, right? And, oh, you are the worst thing ever type of a thing, right? So if you tend to think in this type of black and white or all or none type of thinking, just reflect on it and see if it's getting in the way for you to reinforce or follow through with the things. So going back to my scenario, my dad, or the dad I worked with, his feelings of being inadequate or insufficient came from his perfectionist tendencies, because I have seen these tendencies just kind of get you overwhelmed and fixated on what I have done all along, or that if I implement it today, I will forever have to do it, right? So then you have less flexibility in your thinking. And he tends to think of more, because he really had suffered from perfectionist tendencies, and that was kind of obvious for him. But this is not an obvious thing for all the time with everybody. But he couldn't follow through. He couldn't do it because he didn't discipline his kids when he asked them to pick up them after themselves yesterday, and they didn't do it, and he didn't put any discipline in, and today he's feeling it and doing it, right? So that lowered his confidence as well. So people who judge others harshly, they also tend to judge themselves very harshly as well. And that's also coming from perfectionist tendencies, because you have less flexibility in your thinking, more black and white, which means, you tend to just judge more things as good or bad. Not much room for something in between. That I can do this today, but not necessarily tomorrow, right? So this type of thinking and inflexibility in your thinking can lead you to be extreme with kids. And that's what happened, or with other people as well. And that's what happened with my client. Like, his thinking was like, either he is doing it all aboard on everything, or just don't do it at all. Just, it's easier. So either no discipline at all or very harsh discipline. These extremes in his behaviors made him doubt himself because of his own polarizing thinking that made him feel less confident and question himself and doubt himself whether he was doing the right thing or not. Okay, so another reason could be not saying it with conviction. And again, this is going to go and kind of piggyback on all the other reasons that we have talked about so far. And not saying it like you mean it. Yes, you can't say it with conviction because you doubt yourself, right? It may be your guilt or fear or feeling not knowing enough about the topic or the conversation, or just what you are arguing about, that kind of gets in the way. So if this is you feel like you cannot say it with conviction, just track it back to some of the other reasons that why you feel, less confident, and doubt yourself that if you really mean it, why you cannot really say it like you mean it. Okay, so reflect back. Why do you soften things up for others? Right? We do that all the time. Who has done that here? Right? Somebody just comes along and makes you feel like, excuse my French, shit, right? Whatever they say. And first of all, you just don't even have the courage probably to just face it. It takes a lot of courage to tell someone, hey, you made me feel like this, right? And then too, if you got the courage to tell them, then it's like we just beat it around the bush and soften things up and sugarcoat it, and it doesn't even feel like you have complained about anything, that how bad your feelings were hurt, right? So just ask that question to yourself. Do you soften things up for people, and why? Do you fear something, fear of conflict, as we have discussed it earlier, or guilt, or confrontation, right? So just feel what you, or think about what you feel about not saying it with conviction, that what's stopping you. So going back to scenarios so you can follow along, not saying it like you mean it, my client, or this dad, because he doubted himself, he didn't feel confident enough to say it with conviction. So his kids would understand that he really mean it, right? let me tell you how kids operate. They are very good at picking up energy, especially if we are talking about kids. But I truly believe that it's all about energy, and that we all the time, my empaths people who are here, we pick up on other people's emotions all the time, whether we realize it or not, whether you are aware of it or not. As you're gonna become more and more aware of your own emotions, you will realize that you're going to start to pick up other people's emotions around you as well. That if they are uncomfortable, you make things comfortable for them, right? For others who are around you. So just see the energy, see the vibe. It comes back to the confidence. And now we're going to move to our last reason that we're going to talk about today, which is making excuses. So who makes excuses here? We all do make excuses some way or other, right? And excuses, psychologically speaking, are our way of just soothing ourselves from the disappointment that we might feel because we didn't do enough, right? So that, hold on, let me see where my notes are. I do have notes. So when we are making excuses are about fears. So just note what fears you are struggling with. Do you make excuses for your behaviors? Do you make excuses for others' behaviors? Because if you do, that means you are pleasing others. That means you might not be comfortable with confronting or conflict. You want to avoid the conflict. So you just probably, if you are among these people, you might be just like hush hush, and you are the peacemaker. You don't want people to rock the boats, and everybody is happy around me, so I am happy, right? And that's actually what gets you or us in trouble, because we focus too much on other people's happiness and how to make them happy, and we ignore our own happiness, and that's where we fail for the long haul, right? So I'll speak a little bit about that more kind of in my conclusion. So for going back to the scenario, this dad that I worked with, he was champion at making excuses. Even some of the stuff that I would ask him to do, and there were so many excuses, so much valid excuses, but there were so many excuses that why he couldn't do that homework, why he couldn't do that practice or exercise. So that's what we really needed to kind of go even deeper than this and realize that why was he doing that. And he was, because he didn't say it with conviction with his to his friend, to his kids. So therefore his kids didn't take him seriously. Now it hurts his fragile ego that his little kids didn't respond to his requests or demands. Now he starts to make excuses, right? Just like we all do, because of the disappointment. Oh, they do have a lot going on. They have a lot of homework. Oh, I don't really expect them to do all that much. It wasn't that bad. I could just pick up after them. Oh, it's my fault. I didn't give them the timeline. Oh, it's my fault because I didn't say it with conviction, right? So these excuses weakens him further to more self-doubt, more self-esteem or low self-esteem, more disappointment, more frustration, and even self-hate and anger. And that, my friend, if you get to this level, we might need to talk, right? But hopefully we don't need to get to that level, and we can prevent all this, and we can practice good mental health hygiene with ourselves and our loved ones, so that it's not so that it's not going to be at this level, right? So there you have it. You have some of the reasons, psychological reasons, why people might not be taking you seriously. Hope you could follow along to find out what are you struggling with, and why people aren't taking you seriously. It all starts and ends with the self. When you know yourself and have unwavering faith within yourself, people take you seriously because they know you show up for yourself. When people know that you don't even respect yourself or show up for yourself, they don't respect you the same. They don't. And it's not against them. It's not that they're being mean or rude. It's just the vibe or frequency that you can pick up. And it just comes naturally for anybody, for us even, to pick up on some of our friends, just unconsciously, to ignore some of the other requests. It's not who they are. It shows all about who you are. So the solution is to show up for yourself. Learn to care for yourself. Put yourself first. Love yourself so people can feel that confidence and that empowerment vibe coming from you, and they know that you mean business when you tell them something, right? So it all starts within here, not with them, not something what you need to tell them. It's all about in here. I'm not sure if that's what you came in here for, but this is the true, I guess, it's psychological, emotional solution that you can try and improve within yourself with self-care. And as I have spoken before, that you don't have to make things easy for them. If somebody is uncomfortable because you're putting your foot down, because you are putting the boundary up and you're firmed up on it, you are disciplining, right? It's not your job to make it easy for them. It's not, right? Let them learn to cope with them on their own, but you continue to show up for yourself. But in the meantime, when you are letting them deal with their own stuff, whether they get angry, whether they stump away, whether they walk away, whatever they do, when you are putting your boundaries up, whether, they are not taking you seriously, whatever the anger way of their displaying, the behavior they're displaying, you're triggering something within them. Let them figure that out. It's their job to figure that out, not to fear. Your job is not to fear their reaction and sugarcoat it for them, right? You figure out your stuff, that how you can be more confident within yourself. So, but what happens though, as you become stronger, you become more confident, you also help them become better versions of themselves, because now they have learned another coping mechanism, how to cope with their anger, or how to cope with them stumping away and ending the conversation, never coming back to it, whatever it is, whether it's with your spouse or boss or kids or parents or siblings. If they don't like it, they are upset at you, they get mad at you, they get quiet and don't, talk to you or ignore you. It's their problem. You just be comfortable and confident that you know who you are and you show up for yourself. Okay? I hope this was helpful. Now, I didn't see any comments, and that could be because I probably didn't do something, or am I not looking at the right things? There are comments. Okay, how do I go to them? Bear with me. Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna go back to all the comments and questions. Oh, no, can't see you, hear you. Okay. Awesome. Good afternoon. Thank you, in-laws. For my husband to take me seriously when I say I want to get healthy and exercise to lose weight. So Marlene, what I would suggest that what you have to do, you just have to do it for yourself and not worry about what he's gonna say and what he's gonna do. You just tell him, this is what I am going to do to be healthy and to exercise, to lose weight, right? And you show up. Whatever you say, start small, and whatever you tell him, but show up regularly for yourself. And that's when he's gonna take you seriously, okay? He laughs at you, but if you're not going to show up, you're gonna give him the reason, but start something with small, and that's going to help you to gain that confidence, okay? Hi, Lily, thank you for being here. Hi, Chris, thank you so much for being here. Yay. Hello, Bear. Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions? If you have, this was helpful. I am so glad that this was all said. Thank you. Great. Your words help me. Awesome. I am so glad that this was very helpful. So if you are still with me, I want to leave you with some follow-up steps if you can. What I would really suggest, self-care. No matter how much self-worth, self-esteem, confidence, conviction you have, if you are tired and overwhelmed, you will not be able to put all this into practice. So please, my friends, take care of yourself first. You matter first. So be easy as you going to embark on this self-love or self-care journey. Just be easy on yourself. This journey of self-love, it's not easy. It doesn't come overnight, but it's definitely doable and totally worth it. Speaking from personal experience, and I have seen many of my clients, hundreds of my clients, see that over time as well. It may take them 4 to 5 years. Hey, there has been 30, 40 years worth of trauma and all that conditioning that had taken place. So a couple of years, it's not a bad deal, my friend. So please let me know how I can continue to serve you on this journey. And we need more people in this world who love themselves and can love and accept others without conditions, right? Amen to that. So thank you guys for showing up and helping me to support this community. I absolutely am passionate about self-love, self-care, because I feel that's the best way that you can serve them. Oh, okay, I got one question. So on certain kids' behaviors, slowly, would you give me a little bit more, like what kids' behavior? I would say that if kids are behaving up or like just they are acting up around you, tune into your own energy. I see this all the time with me, that if I had a long day, I am frustrated or I am overwhelmed, that my kids start to act up. If they didn't get enough attention, I am not present. So what you can do, just take a bathroom break, wash your face, and just deep breathe for 10 to 15 deep breaths. Can get you centered back into your own body and present moment. If you are with your kids, that this is the most important task you have on your hands right now. So pay full attention. put your phone away, put other things away. If you absolutely need to take care of something that's urgent, go take care of that first and then come back to kids. But if they are behaving badly or they are acting up, tune into your own energy. And that way, if you do need to discipline them, you will come across with much more conviction. You will be able to follow through and you will be able to say it as you mean it. I wasn't sure if that's what you were looking for, but continue to post the questions and I will check back on this event and continue to answer some of the questions that come along. Okay, if no more other questions, thank you so much, guys, for showing up, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, another one pop up. Okay, when they disrespectful in public, don't seem to care when they don't want to listen. It all comes to boundaries. You have to follow through what you mean it. So if, for example, it was my kid, right, who's disrespecting me in public or not caring or not listening that they're in public, wherever we are leaving. We are leaving and they're going home, and that's where the discipline takes place. But you know that that's what you would have to do, and you would have to follow through it, and that's when they're gonna know that mama means business. Okay, hope that's helpful. And if there is a particular situation or scenario that you want to run it by, feel free to DM me. I'll help you through with that. Okay. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being here again. And I will see you guys next Thursday again, but at 3:30. So hopefully that time will work out for some of our other friends. Okay, take care. Have a good one. Bye.